Hello, one and all. Welcome to the A to the K wrestling show. We're going to do what we always do. We're going to throw it over to Road Dogg for A to the K's little known fact of the week.
Oh, you didn't know?
There he is. Best friends with him now as well, aren't we? We are best friends.
Thanks, Road Dogg.
Thanks for pointing at my junk. Thank you.
What he does.
It is what he does. So, Anthony, we are a little over 2 weeks away from Money in the Bank. And I don't know about you, but I often associate Money in the Bank with young, up-and-coming talent, earning a shot at the briefcase to go on and win their title.
Yes.
But, Anthony, did you know? That's a load of bollocks. That's not the case at all. So we've only actually had, in the whole time Money in the Bank's been going, 4 winners who were in the 20s. Now, the baby of them all was Alexa Bliss. She won it when she was 26. Seth Rollins won it when he was 27. It was like 10 years ago or something mad. He's old now. We had Jack Swagger. He won it when he was 28. Oh, Jack Swagger. We the people.
Oh, you mean Jake Hager?
Oh, that guy. That's the one. And Carmella. She won it when she was 29. But the majority...
I put it on a very reliable tweet that she was 46. Right. So in case no one remembers, I'm throwing it back to an old tweet where it suggested she was 46, but she clearly isn't.
I thought it was one of ours.
Anyway.
We always get our facts right.
Super right all the time. Do you remember the time Cody Rhodes was definitely going to turn up at Ring of Honor? I remember that time.
Do you remember that?
Super right about that I was.
Fun times.
But I never reported it as a fact, so it's all good.
Well, that's it. No one believes what we say anyway, so it's cool. In fact, why are they even joining us for this fact? It's probably wrong. Because to my knowledge...
It's a little known something of the week.
Exactly. To my knowledge, the majority of the winners have actually been in their late 30s, and mostly veterans, with Brock Lesnar and Kane actually winning it in their 40s. So I think Brock was 41 and Kane was 44. Practically had to use a Zimmer frame to climb up there.
Well, Brock, he handled it like a youth. Come out with his boombox. In fact, that actually kind of shows his age. Now I think about it.
What's up, fellow children? Well, not children.
Hello, fellow children.
Kids is probably the right word to use there. But yeah, so there you go. That was A to the K's little known fact of the week. And this is Road Dogg to sing to us again, like he always does.
Oh, you didn't know?
Oh, yes. So, let's dive right into it, shall we? I'm going to kick off with the first one. I'm going to talk about Riddle.
Jump right on in.
Because why not?
Riddle me this.
There's no riddles here. I'm going to talk about Riddle. He's earned himself a shot at Roman Reigns, Anthony. So that was unexpected, I guess. I have no idea what the plan was for this. So obviously Randy is somewhere doing something. It's still not being confirmed that he's actually legitimately injured. So who knows? He's probably just on the beach somewhere chilling out. But Riddle is going it alone after a brief stint with Shinsuke. And he's now earned an opportunity to fight Roman Reigns, which I think is on SmackDown this week or Raw next week. I can't remember when. However, they've also inserted a clause where if Riddle loses, he can never challenge again while Roman is champ.
But this is weird.
Smacks a Cody Rhodes, doesn't it? Yeah. Even though they haven't got Cody, they're going to use Cody. They're going to use Cody storylines. He'll never challenge again.
Unless partway through the match, Cody comes out and he's like, "Don't do it! I made that same mistake, and look at me now."
Exactly.
Like, calm down, Cody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I'm a bit like I've got I like Riddle. I think he's a talented dude, but does like all due respect to him, does anybody want him to win this?
True.
Stipulation or no? Like, is anyone expecting him to win this?
Like, I don't think Riddle should be the guy to dethrone Roman. But when we talk the news in a little bit, rumour has it we're not going to be seeing much of Roman for a while. So get on to that. So make sure you tune in. But yeah, so Riddle and Roman, the feud that nobody wanted, looks like we're getting.
Crazy. So my next one, Carl, is your boy Seth qualifying for men's Money in the Bank. Yeah, so let's be honest, Seth should be in the Money in the Bank. He's an absolute legend. A couple of little what's the word? X, I suppose, this week in the sense of obviously they've had to change some plans because his plan was to wrestle Cody again and again.
Forever.
So we've had to move into a bit of a program with Seth and AJ. So this was like obviously the build to him going into Money in the Bank. So I don't know if it's going to go anywhere further than that. Cody is alleged to be out for at least 6 months, so we don't even know if they'll pick that back up. I imagine they will. Anyway, There was a terribly cheesy "that's for Cody" moment from AJ, which I could have done without, to be honest. Lactose intolerant, man. Stop it. I'm not, by the way. But yeah, Rollins, to be fair, won it clean. No shenanigans there. So he's going forward to Money in the Bank, and it was never going to be a bad match, to be fair. And I'm going to say, to be fair, again at some point during the end of this sentence. To be fair.
There you go. You did say.
But the strange thing, Carl, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but over on SmackDown we had Drew going up against Sheamus, and it ended in a double DQ. But neither are on the graphics that were shown on the following Raw. So presumably, then neither of them qualified, or do we have to go at it again? I wasn't overly clear on that.
Yeah, it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see where it goes. I have no idea what they were thinking with that. Drew and Sheamus always absolutely slaps. I think we had an awesome feud when there were no fans around, so I think it would be great to see them get to do that in front of the fans. But yeah, it's weird. Obviously, they both stormed into Adam Pearce's office saying, add me to the match. But as of Raw, they were not added to the match. So only Seth was on the kind of, little graphic there to say he's going to be there. So who knows where they're going with that. But yeah, I agree with you. Very, very cheesy. The whole, that's for Cody. It's like, okay.
All for Cody.
But speaking of Money in the Bank, let's stick with that theme, shall we? Let's talk about the women's Money in the Bank match, Anthony.
Do we?
Let's do it. We had 3 qualifying matches this week on both Raw and SmackDown to determine. In fact, no, we didn't. I'm lying. We had 2 matches, but
with a lot of people.
3 were named because on SmackDown we had Lacey Evans going over Xia Li. So remember when Xia Li was a thing and she got pushed for a week? No. But now Lacey's back. Lacey goes over there. So fair dues.
To be fair, no offense to Xia Li, but yeah, I'm all for that. I'm glad Lacey got through. She was
Indeed.
Obviously she had to have some time off, understandably, because she was pregnant to Ric Flair's child, I believe. But I kidding. I always still remember the heat you got when you put up congratulations. And everyone's like, it's a story. It's like, was it? Was it?
Yeah, I mean, there's an actual baby there, so it's pretty good storytelling.
But yeah, she was I think she was primed to be top spot in the women's division. So I'm glad she's sort of coming back with that fire under her, and I kind of hope she wins it. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely, I think I've said for a time now, I would love to see Lacey versus Charlotte at some point. I know we had a little taster of it, and it was tasted a bit bitter. It wasn't very good, but I'm confident second time round, it'll taste much sweeter. But so we had Lacey qualifying, but then when you go over to Raw, you talk about the women's revolution, Anthony. Basically this screamed to me, we ain't got time for 2 women's matches. So what we're going to do is we'll make a tag team match, and the 2 women that win, they'll both be in the Money in the Bank, because that's exactly what happened. Now, don't get me wrong, I love myself a bit of, Alexa and Liv, and I love myself too, why not? But yeah, it just reeks of them just not giving the women the time they deserve, and basically saying, well, I don't know, we'll just put a tag team match, and that way, that saves them to book another match. So, bit of a shame.
I take your point. Yeah.
But big fan of obviously Liv and Alexa, so glad they're both in the match, and yeah, it's shaping up pretty nice.
Very blonde Money in the Bank.
Very blonde, it is.
Not that matters, but there's a pattern. I think Vince is clearly showing preferences.
Indeed.
So Carl, other quick mention really, Judgment Day weighing in on Bianca Belair. So the mention really is a couple of bits. Obviously, just a little bit of a silly bit, but Rhea Ripley sort of comes out and she's she doesn't she tells the fans she doesn't need to say she's threatening, she just is. But obviously, after having her teeth nearly knocked out, she had to say that with a retainer. And I'm not having a go. She needed to wear it, but it kind of undercuts the tone of being threatening, if I'm honest with you.
Just a scotch, yeah.
The main bit I want to mention after that sort of throwaway bit was Bianca felt very outnumbered here. And I think you've mentioned it previously, but I think we're clearly heading towards a Street Profits sort of involvement, and then obviously a 3-on-3.
Yeah, it seems to be heading that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It just, the fact it's almost like a 3-on-1 attack at the minute, via video, of course, but
Yeah.
I imagine when they all show up together, then Bianca's going to be like, oh no, I'm outnumbered, and then,
Exactly. I think that's when we're going to get it, is like when she's clearly like outnumbered and in danger, then that's when they're going to rock up and shake the ropes and do what they do.
Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me if we ended up with some kind of Street Profits versus Priest and Balor match at like Money in the Bank, or at least a couple of episodes of Raw. But yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
Interesting nonetheless.
So,
But speaking of interesting, I am actually psyched for this, right? Now, obviously, Kevin Owens' Ezekiel thing's been going on for a while, and as we've said, Kevin Owens been doing great with what he's had, but it's felt like it's gone on for a little bit too long with a lot of, similar to a lot of WWE storylines. But finally, they've had a turning point. So Ezekiel has announced that Elias will be in attendance on Raw next week to do one of his concerts. I can't fucking wait, right? It's stupid,
honestly,
but I want to see what they do. Like, that's what it's about.
I love the idea that someone who blatantly doesn't look like, this might not be the case, but someone who blatantly doesn't look like Elias rocks up. And then we have to just watch Kevin Owens lose his shit trying to convince people that isn't Elias. And everyone's just like, of course it's Elias. I'm actually looking forward to that as an idea, and I hope they do it. Like you say, it's just so, like, what are they going to do with this? Like, I really hope they don't fall back to, like, he doesn't show up or something like that. I literally want them to just have somebody else rock up who clearly isn't him and just dress like it.
There's so many different ways it could go, and I guess that's what builds all the excitement. I saw, a couple of different fan theories out there saying, obviously, Aaron Stevens, or formerly Damien Sandow, has recently retired from wrestling. And obviously, his former gimmick as Damien Sandow was a stunt double and stuff. And he looks a bit similar to Elias, so that would be obviously pretty exciting if that was the case.
I love it, because, again, he would be different enough for Kevin Owens. He could even be like, that's Damien Sandow.
Exactly.
I love it. I fucking love the idea. As stupid as the story is, you just can't help but enjoy Kevin Owens with it.
Well, exactly. No one knows where it's going. Like, people are already speculating that Elias was wearing loads of makeup last week, and he's already started growing out his beard and stuff like that. It's like people are going into overdrive in terms of how it's going to be done, and I genuinely don't know what route they're going to go down, and that's what gets you to tune in. Do you know what I mean? Like, if of the stuff you announce, it's like, we're going to have this match, and it's like, well, that's a foregone conclusion who's going to win. It's like stuff like this, you're like, okay, I've got to tune in because you need to see
what is going to happen. Yeah,
and that's obviously a rarity for Raw. So yeah, excited for that.
Indeed. Tell you what, Carl, speaking of excitement, edgy seat action this week, we had a new Intercontinental Champion.
We did indeed.
And I'm not shitting on this, other than the fact that, sadly, Ricochet didn't really get a decent run with it, and we haven't seen the IC title. Certainly haven't seen it on any pay-per-views in a while. But Gunther is incredibly popular, and I'm super intrigued. Obviously, he defeated Ricochet. He's took the championship. Are we going to get to see a bit of IC title going on?
I mean, make a difference, wouldn't it? Because I haven't fucking seen it. It's not been defended on pay-per-view since, WrestleMania? The last WrestleMania, over a year.
And let's do the show comparison thing. Did AEW's new All-Atlantic Championship actually make them go, wait, we have another belt?
I mean, it's a fine point, to be fair. And obviously we'll talk about that when we get into AEW, but it could have done. Weirdly this week, which I'll come on to in a sec, is they've had basically, because Roman's holding both the belts and he's nowhere to be seen, they've probably had to go, oh shit, well, we need some kind of title in the picture. So obviously, that could have helped. But yeah, Gunther, it's an interesting one. I don't know how it's going to impact the IC title scene, if it's going to add any more prestige or, notoriety, gets featured more. I've no idea, but it seems like it's potentially a step in the right direction, because no offense to Ricochet, I just don't think he was ever going to get the time with the belt.
I agree.
So, yeah, interesting, and yeah, excited to see where it goes. But the final one for WWE this week, Anthony, I am going to shit on, and it is the second kind of secondary title, if you will, in the US title. So, big fan of Theory. Don't get me wrong, and I think Theory did look good in this, but the main event of Raw this week was a fucking pose down. Like, when's this ever been a good idea? Why do they keep doing this shite? We had it with Triple H and Scott Steiner, right? No offense to both Theory and Lashley, but Triple H and Steiner, both significantly bigger talents and bigger draws, and that segment flopped for them. So how is this going to work for us? Now, obviously,
what are the rules of the pose down?
Well, they just have to
flex. But there's a significant body difference between the two men.
Well, yeah. Well,
doesn't Bobby just win by showing up? What are the rules?
Well, I guess. I mean, to be fair, Theory looked jacked as fuck, but I think it's. I don't know. I can't put myself on a judging panel for pose downs, unfortunately, but I imagine it's to do with definition and muscle size and all the stuff that no one cares about. Other than Vince. Vince loved this segment, so you could tell. But yeah, essentially, I don't know.
Some of that oil himself.
This is not the kind of segment that we need, especially to main event your flagship show. So yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Theory got a bit of heel heat because he squirted baby oil in Lashley's eye, as you would. But yeah, it's not the best, unfortunately.
Not the best at all.
Not the best.
Crazy stuff. Well, moving on over to AEW, Cal. Just a quick mention of the Casino Battle Royal, or the AEW bracket. Obviously, we kicked off the show with the Casino Battle Royal. Came down to Wheeler Yuta and Kyle O'Reilly, which for me were somewhat odd choices. You know how
you're not alone.
I'm not going to change on that. So they're going to they went on to face Mox in the main event, and for me, I don't know. I'm hoping there's some sort of surprises here, but it looks like we're probably going to get a Mox second run with the championship, and I don't mind that. I just, when you consider the stacked amount of talent at the minute, does he need to go for the belt again right now?
Yeah, I think
I'm interested to see what they do with it. I'm not trying to shit on it, but it wouldn't have been my choice.
It's one of, obviously it's a super unfortunate thing with Punk getting injured the way that he has, and I think a lot of people, the kind of rosters that stacked and it's got that much depth to it. I think there's arguments to say loads of different people who could go for that belt, but they've never had somebody hold the belt twice, so maybe this is is it the right thing to reward Mox after obviously the kind of year or so he's had. I can't imagine them going down the route of putting it on Tanahashi, because I think that would be a terrible idea, just because hardly anyone knows who the fuck he is. So to have someone from New Japan holding your company's belt,
it's not a good move when they're still trying to break the US really in terms of popularity, aren't they?
Exactly. But no, to be fair, that O'Reilly and Moxley was a good match. But I think, as you said, pretty obvious who was going to win, and I think unfortunately, it's pretty obvious who's going to win at Forbidden Door as well, because you're not going to give your belt over to New Japan, are you? Your main title. So unfortunate circumstances, but is what it is, and I wouldn't be terribly disappointed with Mox having a second run. But yeah, I imagine it'll be different this time with Blackpool Combat Club and stuff. So
yeah, like I say, at least there's that. It is going to be a bit different. He's in a different place, isn't he? So
indeed. So the next thing to talk about, we touched on it briefly when talking about WWE, but AEW out of nowhere, straight out of fucking nowhere, have introduced the All Atlantic title, Anthony, and obviously, I fucking love this. Now, this has divided audiences everywhere, hasn't it? Because of course it does. It's AEW, everything's controversial. People are saying, not another title, there's already too many titles. So you got that side of things. I don't mind it, right? Now, if they treat this like the old school workhorse belt for WWE, which is the Intercontinental title, absolutely, this is fucking brilliant, because the TNT title is a television championship at the end of the day. Don't get me wrong, back before all the brand splits and all this other shit, WWE had a main title, an IC title, a European title, hardcore championship. They had shitloads. So people going, there's too many titles, nah.
I think as long as you can work it, and people also say there's too many wrestlers, so is that a problem then? Like, I mean, belts people can go for now. That's good.
Exactly, and I think that's the intention. I think Tony Khan said it's not only open to people who aren't from the US, for example, but he hopes it gives kind of people from other countries and things like that more opportunities to go after things. And if it is going to become a workhorse title, which I hope it does, they've kicked it off in the right fucking way, man. Because we had Pac versus Buddy Matthews, two absolute beasts. Do you know what I mean? And it was a fantastic match. And obviously Pac advances, and I think he's somebody who's got it all, really, and he's not going to be someone who wins the AEW World title anytime soon. So could he win something like this? Absolutely. And would that be huge for him? Definitely. So I think it's a good idea. Obviously, I love a tournament bracket. That's where we're going. So Pac's going to face the winner of Miro and Ethan Page. We've got Penta and Malachi Black. That's going to be another fucking fantastic match. And then, obviously, because it's taking place at Forbidden Door, we've got two New Japan guys. So I'd imagine one of the New Japan guys makes it through as well, just to
you've got to
line up the Forbidden Door. So hopefully we get Pac versus someone from New Japan, and let's see where it goes.
It'll be a banger,
Indeed.
So next one for me, Carl, Thunder versus Shafir. Now, this has obviously caused a little bit of controversy on the old interwebs because the suggestion of Thunder sandbag Shafir throughout the match. There's a couple of moments that it does kind of look that way, to be honest. And you know me, I'm a Thunder mark, but it's hard to deny a couple of bits, like the suplex spot being a particular one. But sadly they just didn't have a decent match. And the good thing that's come from it is obviously after the match, Tony Storm comes out to make the save and squaring off with Thunder. Now that is a match that I want to see. So I'm looking forward to that going forward as a feud. But sadly it wasn't a great match from Thunder.
No, it was painful, and I think unfortunately, I think we spoke about it last week. Is the TBS title feels on a different level to the women's title right now. When you've got someone like Thunder Rosa as your champ, that shouldn't happen really. So I don't know what they're going to do to turn it around. Obviously, as you say, Tony Storm potentially is the next challenger. You know, is going to be pretty damn decent, to be fair. So let's see. Hopefully they can bring it back around. But the TBS title's doing pretty great stuff at the minute as well. So let's talk about Wardlow, shall we? Because I love talking about Wardlow, and obviously he's officially signed to AEW now, and he's come out and basically he says it's time for some change around here, and he wants the TNT title. So he's not messing around. He's making the challenge, and obviously Scorpio Sky comes down, almost like I'll take on your challenge, but Dan Lambert stops him. So it's kind of like teasing that. But then here's the bit I didn't like. So then we get Smart Mark Sterling comes on the screen and basically says that Wardlow is now going to have a 20-on-1 match like tonight on Dynamite.
That's not good.
And it's like...
No. Don't like that. Well, you're going to bury 20 people? Just seems stupid.
Well, to be fair, I think it's just going to be all the security guards and people like that. I don't think it's going to be like actual AEW talent, even though it absolutely could be with the size of the roster.
Doesn't matter who it is. You're going to bury them.
Well, exactly. So it's kind of like obviously...
Those security guards will never fight for the title.
Yeah, but it kind of came out of nowhere, really. It was like, I don't know, do we need this when you're potentially going to build to something with Scorpio Sky and Wardlow? It just feels like another hurdle in place that doesn't need to be there.
Oh, you got to love a good hurdle. So, speaking of hurdles, Gal, it doesn't track at all, but I'm going to do. Forbidden Door. So it looks like we're going to get Hangman versus Okada versus Cole, possibly. So Hangman this week put on a decent match with David Finlay, who I believe is the son of Fit Finlay.
He is indeed.
What's his name?
Just Finlay.
What's his actual first name? Just Finlay. Finlay. You know, the Irish guy who loves to fight. And then obviously after the match we had Hangman saying that he lost the AEW title, but he wants the IWGP title and he wants Okada. But obviously Adam Cole has to insert himself into the situation, and he comes out and they have a back and forth. And do you know what? This could be a decent match. I've not been overly sold on Adam Cole in AEW, I'll be honest with you, but you know what? Why not? It's a decent program to go into. They're all decent wrestlers. I'm sure it'll be a decent match.
Indeed. Well, I think obviously since Hangman came out and challenged Okada, I think the waters were muddied a little bit because I think Jay White ended up beating Okada potentially. So I think now it's like, what's going to happen there? Because I think Adam Cole referenced, how do you know Okada's going to win? It could be my buddy Jay White. So it's like, where are we going to go? Are they going to do like a fatal four-way now, potentially with all four of them going for it at Forbidden Door? Or I'm not too sure. I know Adam Cole's pretty banged up at the minute as well, but to be fair, if they do go the fatal four-way route, I think...
You think he might just be representing Jay White? He might not be in the match then?
Well, I don't know, honestly. That's what I mean. It could end up just being Hangman versus Jay White, or if they have managed to book Okada, then maybe they do some kind of a triple threat or fatal four-way, but remains to be seen, but interesting nonetheless. And lastly, sticking with the Forbidden Door, the big surprise for Dynamite this week was Will Ospreay showed up.
Yeah.
So obviously, for people who don't really follow New Japan at all, you probably still have heard of Will Ospreay because obviously he's known as one of the better wrestlers in the world. He's got a lot of accolades from the UK. So obviously, we've got his back a little bit here as well. But basically, Trent came down, challenged FTR on behalf of Roppongi Vice. And basically, FTR were like, yeah, that's true. We didn't beat you because obviously United Empire got involved. Just then, that music plays, and they're like, oh, who's it going to be? And yeah, Ospreay comes out. And then obviously 3 more members of the United Empire kind of jump them. and Ospreay kind of joined in the All-Stand Tall. So I thought that was going to be all we got, but on Rampage we then got that leading to a match. So we had Ospreay in the Aussie Open taking on FTR and Trent with the United Empire getting the win. So interesting. Just goes to show that the New Japan guys are kind of getting a few scalps in on AEW as well. So I think
that's the thing. That's the way to do it as well. Like, you can't call it Forbidden Door and then not have this kind of stuff,
Well, exactly. So, we've been going down this route where we've had a lot of, like, obviously, Fit Finley's son, who is with New Japan, him losing. We've had a few other guys coming over and kind of it not go their way. So this is the first time we're starting to see, the Forbidden Door swing the opposite way, if you want.
And Ospreay is the right man as well, isn't he? Because he's white hot in terms of the D&Ds in Japan, so just makes
exactly.
sense. Yeah.
Exactly. So, it's going to be very interesting to see where it all goes. And I think I think we've brought into speculation how over is this card going to be, because obviously it's New Japan, AEW. A lot of people don't really want to see New Japan potentially. So,
but it needs to be built, doesn't it? Unfortunately, for a lot of people,
it's shaping up to look pretty decent, though. To be fair, with the way they have gone about it. So let's see. Let's see how what the reception is for it. But all in all, not a bad week for AEW or for WWE really. But
no, to be fair,
yeah, most excited next week for
positive guys.
I know, right? I'm most excited next week for Ezekiel and Elias stuff, obviously, because can't wait for that. But then tonight is Road Rager, isn't it, for AEW? So some pretty good matches there. Hair versus hair, Jericho and Ortiz, I think, are having a match for that. Tag titles on the line, and a ladder match is now just Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express, because obviously the Hardys have been removed, as you might guess when we talk about the news in a little bit. Shaping up quite nice there. So then we've got Roman versus Riddle. So lots going on. Lots to look forward to. So that was another fun-filled episode of This Week in Wrestling. And here is the one and only Thunder Rosa, controversy and all, to say goodbye.
Hey everybody, this is Thunder Rosa, and you're watching or listening A to the K. A to the K. A to the K. A to the K.